Hello, and welcome back to my channel. So, this is a bit of a different kind of game. It's actually an indie otome game that I found through the otome games subreddit. And I thought it looked really awesome and I really wanted to play it, and I thought, you know, I think I should play it on the channel because one, I want to give it as much attention as I can, though I know like it might not be that much. It's not, you know, a super popular genre to watch, but it's a popular genre for me to play. It is actually my favorite genre to play, and this one, the plot and the art, it all looked really good. I don't remember the plot exactly off the top of my head right now, but I do know that it's like, I think it's fantasy, and it looks like the kind of book I would want to read. So I'm like, you know what? I want to I want to play this game, and so far the music is stunning, so I'm pretty happy. And yeah, we're going to play this game. I don't know what to expect. I will leave a link to it in the description. It's actually on Steam. You can get it for free. It's totally free. So if you want to play it, please do. I recommend it. Even though I haven't started it yet, but it looks really good. So, and I want to acknowledge the creators as much as possible. So I am going to start this game. Okay. I don't exactly remember the whole plot, to be honest. We'll find out, I suppose. Hey, did you hear about the execution tomorrow? Yes. One of Sithania's own knights. They've kept the whole thing hush-hush, though. I've heard rumors that it's something to do with the Prismalia Shh! We're outside. Oh, right. But poor girl. I heard she's a freshly recruited knight, too. What could she have done to deserve this? I think the heroine is the knight. Possibly, maybe. The death sentence speaks for itself. Whatever she did, it put the whole kingdom at risk. Just a shame that she has to die so young. Don't worry about it, dear. She must have deserved the punishment. Our kingdom knows what's best for us. I'm into it already. Hello. Listen, pretty anime boys? Okay. I like it. I love otome games, okay? The execution. Could they be talking about that girl? Yes, I know. I've been involved enough. But that girl. Oh dear. The man sighed, rubbing his temples. I've just helped her escape from a dangerous situation, and now she's getting herself into another mess. Interesting. His magenta eyes darted to the city hall, which was going to be an execution scene within a few hours. Should I just detach myself? Like how I've always done? But The man gazed at his bony hands, looking as though he had missed a familiar feeling associated with them whenever he clasped his hands. Perhaps there's still something I can do. He turned away, resolve in his eyes, and disappeared within the alley's shadows. What is he, like an assassin? I like those in my fantasies. Behind the steel bars of Sithania's dark and cold prison, a young woman with charred clothes and bruised skin was pacing to and fro within her cell, angry footsteps echoing throughout the prison. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I know what I saw. A war is brewing. If they couldn't use me, they will use someone else. I need to find a way out of here and tell the world about their plans. But they're going to execute me instead. What for? For telling the truth? I don't have much time. I need to find a way. I can't die here. The woman grabbed the steel bars and, in a fit of rage, tried to pry them open with her bare hands. So this is interesting because I'm so used to otome games where it's always told in the first person, from the heroine's point of view, and this one's told in the third person. I think that's pretty interesting. You're gonna hear me talking about writing a lot. I love writing, I love stories, I love it all. But of course, no matter how much strength she used, the steel bars did not budge. Her shouts, however, were enough to alert the guards and attract them to her cell. It's that crazy woman again. Just ignore her. She's gone mad. Besides, it's not like she's a magic user. She wouldn't be able to hold those bars even if she used her life's worth of willpower. They let out a set of jeering laughs. I don't know what she told the commander, but it must have been something extremely blasphemous for her to end up with a capital punishment. What's her name again? She's that crazy ex-knight from the scouting division, right? Yeah. Altia Revendier. Listen, fantasy names, let's be honest, as someone who also writes fantasy, I also don't know how to pronounce some of my own characters' names. Okay, let's be honest. Okay. Cute anime boy number 2. At the mention of her name, a young man stopped in his tracks on his way to the prison's exit. Altia. The stranger briefly glanced at the cell the young woman was in. He spotted a familiar face, one he could never forget. But just as he was about to approach her, a guard called him out. Hey, you! Your visiting time is over. The exit's this way. Right. Excuse me. As the man left, Alto noticed a small feather dangling on his right ear. That feather. Could it be? No, that's impossible. He would never be here. She recognizes him from his earrings. Who is he, Tanjiro? Alto sighed, letting her back slump against the stone wall. You know that you're out of it when you start hallucinating. But who wouldn't if today was the last day you had in Gaia? I haven't even found her yet. Who's her? I don't know. Zithania Kingdom's City Hall was surrounded by armor-clad knights that gray morning, and with all preparations for the young woman's execution had been ready since dawn. Alto had been kneeling on the ground since then too, and all the pain she initially felt had been numbed by the piercing cold. I can read. Okay, which of the cute anime boys is gonna save her from her execution? Despite the heavy storm, citizens had flocked around the city hall, ready to capture the monumental moment of the knight's killing one of their own. What a pitiful girl. She's so young. That traitor deserves it. Natsu could hear each and every one of them talking, all of their gossip, their curses, their sympathies. But now, the rain had drowned out their voices. The only thing she could think... Wait, what? Apparently I can't read. The only thing she could thank the rain for. After the crowd had settled, the knight's commander, a man who Alto once put her faith in, stepped up to the podium to signal her death. The execution of Altia Revendier shall now commence. The executioner busied himself by polishing his axe, ensuring he would end the girl's life in a single slash. Okay, so it's like guillotine, but by hand. Kind of like, I don't know. Alto closed her eyes. I guess this is the end, huh? If I knew this was how it would turn out, maybe I should have just stayed back home and became a regular craftswoman. But I still haven't found you yet. I don't get it. What did I do wrong? I did what I could for the knights, for you. And this is how I'm rewarded? Gods, if you're really governing Gaia, as written in the myths, then why are you letting this happen to me? The commander glared at her now with frigid, relentless eyes. Any last words, traitor? It's hard to believe that those words came from the same mouth that gave her words of encouragement when she was but a squire. The girl's cracked lips parted, but she was unable to form any words. All she could do was stare at the executioner's merciless eyes and hope she would at least die a quick and painless death. No offense, Alto, my girl, but if your head is gonna be chopped off by a giant axe, I don't think it's gonna be painless. I don't know. I don't know what. I never died before, obviously. What am I even talking about? I'm sorry, Ellis. She closed her eyes, knowing that she had done her best, and that it would all be over soon. Oh. Intruder! Intruder! Oh, here they come. A sudden bam and a flurry of explosions blasted in the city hall. Citizens gasped and screamed as debris showered them from overhead. Alto opened her eyes just in time to see a hooded figure throwing a vial against the ground. It exploded and let out plumes of gray smoke, obscuring the entire city hall along with any light source in the vicinity. Oh, that... I'm gonna go off on a tangent. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. That's kind of like... the character Victor Frankenstein in Code Realize. He did the same thing with, like, vials. Make them explosives and things. Interesting. Interesting. Panic-stricken shouts and confused screams ensued in the safe... In the safe? Apparently I can't read. I took off my glasses to look at the computer, but maybe I need them on. Panic-stricken shouts and confused screams ensued in the sight, but before Alto had a chance to react, she felt the ropes binding her wrists loosen. Who is it? A figure emerged from the mist, extending their hand towards her. Quick, let's get out of here. Alto looked up, and the first feature she saw of her savior was his piercing magenta eyes. Oh, so this is where I can choose a route. Okay, okay. Who should I pick? The dude from the cellar? The cellar? The dude from the dungeon or the dude from the beginning? The blonde guy or the dark-haired guy? Who should we go for first? I kind of want to go for the blonde-haired guy first. As if by instinct, Alto took his hand and was pulled back to her feet. The moment they touched, a strange wave of relief flooded her. She was sure she had never met this stranger before. So how was it possible that his hand felt so familiar? Follow me. He pulled her out of the execution site. Silver dust fumed at every corner, blocking Alto's vision, but the stranger's movements were fluid, as if he could see right through the mist of debris. Magic? Was what Alto thought, as she let the stranger lead her away. Could this person be a magic user? Why do they call it magic user? Can they just use, like, magician or wizard? I don't know. The stranger dashed into an alleyway, turned a sharp corner, and opened an underground hatch. Get in. Wait, who are you? And why did you help me? As the mist slowly settled, Alto glimpsed strands of blonde hair peeking out from under his hood. What do you mean peeking out from under the hood? Look at that thing. It's completely transparent. Girl. Like, look at these character designs. Beautiful. So beautiful. I'm gonna play all the routes. I just hope you all know that. Now's not the time. Go! Alto had no choice but to follow the stranger's demand. After all, he was her only source of hope for now. Where did they go? I don't know. Did we lose them? Damn it. We can't let her get away. You just did. She's got away. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Savior. I'm excited. I like it a lot so far. Okay, cute little flowers, a cute little tent. Nice, peaceful music in the background. I'm into it. Come. After they had escaped the chaos in the city and ran far into the woods, the man beckoned the girl over to his tent. Are they going to share a tent? Is it one of those situations, oh, we have to share a room, but there's only one bed? Alto was initially wary of his intentions, but it was a fact that he had saved her life. Drink this. What is it? It's a medicinal drink. It'll restore your energy. Alto accepted the drink and took a tentative sip from it. She grimaced. Bitter. The man chuckled, a sound that startled her. Pinch your nose and drink it in one go. It's more bearable that way. Alto listened to the man. In a few moments, she opened her wide eyes. Her what? Maybe I do need to put on my glasses. I'm sorry. She opened her eyes wide, suddenly refreshed. What herb is it? It's a type of weed, to be exact. It grows everywhere, but due to its taste, people disregard it as useless. Oh, I see. Wait, a weed? Relax. I wouldn't have dragged you out this far only to kill you. Are you sure? Because I've listened to a lot of true crime podcasts. Okay? Thank you. My name is Alto. What's yours? Kisha. It's a pleasure to meet you. Kisha is a very calming person to be around. It's like being with her. Who's this her? I'm in your debt. There's no need. But I insist. Why did he save her in the first place? I guess that's what we're trying to find out. I mean, you saved my life. He paused, gazing at the tent entrance. There was a sense of contemplation from the man. Before she could question what was wrong, he looked back at her. Don't worry. I'm just glad you're all right. Alto wanted to press him for more information. With the tent flaps opened, she quickly peeked past him. There didn't seem to be much. A lump of fabric was positioned at one of the walls, and across the length of the tent were bundles of greens and flowers hanging along a string. Are you an herbalist? She felt strange asking, almost guilty for looking into a private space. But her curiosity overrode her politeness, and Kisha seemed okay with her presence and question. In a way. Not fully. What do you do then? I am an alchemist. Edward Elric? I'm sorry. Alchemist? Can he use magic? They stood there in awkward silence before Kisha glanced around and then moved into the tent, turning to look back at her. Come in. As Alto walked past the threshold, closed the flaps behind her, a light soon lit up the interior of the tent. The bundles of fabric had been a makeshift bed, and she now noticed a book next to it. Looking closely at the colorful assortment of hanging plants strung across the top of the tent, she felt slightly inspired. That must be a big tent, because what I'm seeing over there is that tiny little thing, but if he has plants hanging from the top, it must be pretty fancy in there, like one of those tents in Harry Potter. Even though she had some of the common greens and flowers in the wild, had seen... Maybe I really need to put on my glasses, I'm sorry. Even though she had seen some of the common greens and flowers in the wild, when gathered together and with a silent purpose, she appreciated their existence even more. Beautiful. This would make a calm painting, especially with the warm lighting bouncing off and creating stark shadows. She followed the light, turning around and trying to memorize the scenery before her, and she locked eyes with Kisha. Suddenly embarrassed by her enthusiasm, she looked down, putting her arms behind her back. Sorry, I like painting. There's nothing to be sorry about. Painting is a learned skill. He must be very good. What's his deal? Does he, like, why is he helping her? Does he have ulterior motives? Alto looked up, wide-eyed. No, not at all. It's just something fun I enjoy. He gave her a soft smile. Anyway, what do you do as an alchemist? I do what all alchemists do. I collect samples, I study their properties, and I document my findings. Basically, like, alchemists are basically like magical scientists, right? Like, he's, for the most part, very scientific. You must do a lot of traveling then. Seen all over the world. The world is vast. I still have plenty to see. Still. She looked down at her hand, realizing she still held the vial Kisha had offered her earlier with the drink. She held it out to him. Oh, Changing her mind, she pulled the vial back. Wait, let me clean it for you. Is there water nearby? Kisha nodded, placid. If you listen carefully, you can hear the stream just some distance away. It shouldn't be too difficult to find, just be careful. They could still be looking for you. Yeah, she can never return to that town ever. She probably can never return to that whole kingdom. They're gonna be on the run. Another trope I also enjoy. Listen, I'm simple. When it comes to the stories, I'm very simple. Wait, before you go, here. Kisha handed her a simple sheathed knife that was attached to a waist belt, in case you need to defend yourself. Alto nodded, strapping it around her before leaving the tent. As told, she waited in silence as she focused to pick up on the sounds of water. The faint but fast rippling of moving water caught her attention, and she walked in that direction. Beautiful. Look at this art. So beautiful. Look at that. I want to go there. As Kisha had described, the stream was easy to spot. Alto waded over, careful not to slip on the dirt sides that bordered the stream. Crouching, she held the vial in the water, meticulously lifting it up to dump out the liquid, and putting it in to rinse it. After a few passes, she was satisfied and shook it, letting the excess droplets fly off. The gentle sounds of the flowing water relaxed her, and she decided to take a break next to the stream. How did she end up running from the law she once admired and joined? She sighed, rubbing her temples. If I could go back. Ellis, where are you? Alto's mind wandered as she stared out into the river. She lowered her hand, drifting it into the cool current, letting the water flow past her fingers. Near their homes was an active pond. The water was clear, water plants populated the bottom, and a small school of fish lived within it. Shaded by the surrounding trees, it was the obvious choice to spend time at. During one peculiar warm season when they were kids, the sun high in the sky beamed heavily down, so hot that the moisture from all the nearby vegetation clouded the air. Is Ellis her sister? Is that who she's looking for? Sol, one of Alto's childhood friends, made the easy decision to drag Alto and Ellis into the pond to cool off. I'm wondering if, now that one character's name is Sol, which means sun, I'm wondering if they all might have, their names might mean something. Listen, I read into everything. I overthink everything. That's what so long of playing Danganronpa games gets me. Take that! Alto shrieked. What was that for? Sol had run his arm across the surface of the water, forming a wave in Alto's direction, hitting her in the face. Got ya. That was so mean. It was just a joke. Come on. Sol rolled his eyes. It's not that big a deal. We do this all the time. But that hurt. My mouth was open too. Ugh, gross. As she spit out the remaining water, Alto saw Sol reach out to her out of the corner of her eye. When the splashing from Ellis got closer to them, however, Sol stopped. As she looked up, he turned the opposite direction and started swimming across the pond. Okay, childhood friend, did they just have a moment? Wait! Come back here, you jerk! Are you okay? I heard the loud splash and your scream. Yeah, I'm okay. You know how Sol is sometimes. Alto puffed her cheeks as Ellis cleaned up the strands of hair away from her face. I know. Ellis smiled as she finished. Alto returned it. I'm getting the vibe that Ellis is like a big sister, maybe raise her kind of thing if they don't have parents. I'll just have to get him back. Wait, Alto! Ignoring the protests from Ellis behind her, she swiftly chased after Sol. In order to surprise him, Alto took a deep breath, diving underneath the surface. But before she got too close to him, she breached the water, popping up with a splash. Sol spun around to investigate the noise, but it was too late. Accompanied by a great burst of energy, Alto whipped her arms around, creating a wave larger than the one Sol had hit her with. I wonder if the guy she recognized in the dungeon, the guy with the feather earring, is he Sol? Just out of curiosity. What? Before Sol could protest, Alto could see him open his mouth, eyes widening in surprise. The water wave hit him and he toppled over. That's what you get! She cheered to herself, and when Ellis finally caught up to her, she laughed. Ellis weakly shook her head, though her expression looked like she was fighting off a chuckle. Yeah, she's definitely like the older sister mom of the group. As Ellis went to check the surface... No, what? As Ellis went to check on the resurfaced Sol sputtering out water, Alto leaned onto her back, letting her body float. The sun still shining bright above, she closed her eyes, letting the pond drift her along. Oh. Alto found herself on her back, and she pushed herself up. Will I need to travel across the lands to find you, Ellis? I need a new plan. The guards took everything I had on me before putting me in that cell. She paused. Almost frantically, she reached around her waist. Relaxing when she felt the handle poking out of the leather sheath, she curled her hands around the wrapped grip and swiftly pulled it out. I almost forgot. He gave me this knife. I can definitely make something for now. Getting up from her spot, she searched the surrounding brush for a sturdy stick to shape. She weighed every possible stick she found, picked one, and then sat back down to sharpen the end of the stick. After making it into a proper spike, she continued fashioning the rest of the wood, smoothing out the jags and bumps. Can I ask why she's doing this if she has a knife? Or maybe, I guess, she probably assumes that she has to give it back to him as soon as she gets back, right? So she's trying to make her own weapon. Alto admired her creation after she shaved the last strand of bark, standing back up to evaluate it. A few quick jabs and thrusts with the crafted weapon helped lift her spirits, and after checking on the vial, she decided to head back. Not wanting to surprise the man if he was deep in concentration, she made sure to take heavy steps as she neared the tent. It was quiet enough, but she could hear the soft steps inside. Kisha? A few moments of silence passed before the rustle of tent fabric was pulled open in front of her. Come in. She handed over the vial after stepping in, and Kisha accepted it. Thanks. How are you feeling? Much better. He raised a curious brow at the sharp stick, but did not probe further. That's good to hear. Kisha had been busy while she was away, Alto noticed. There were fewer bundles of green herbs and dried flowers hanging on the string now, and filled vials were displayed in a row along the other side of the tent. Seriously, how big is this tent? The book that had been previously next to the makeshift bed was now spread open with dense writing. Is there someone you know or someplace nearby where you can hide for a bit? No. I see. His pause made Alto anxious. Would he kick her out now that she wasn't in any immediate danger? She raised her head to read his face. Contemplation showed on his face. In an attempt to sway any doubts in his mind, she pouted. Whether or not her actions worked, he seemed to understand. Do you have any plans? Alto nodded. I lost most of my things when I was jailed. I hope to visit the nearest town to gather supplies before I start. Before I leave. I need to head into the town as well. As you can imagine, for my studies. It shouldn't take too long of a journey to get there. If you would like, we could go together. Yes. Alto perked up. Oh, of course. Kisha looked around, focusing on the dried plants left. He grabbed 2 small satchels, handing one over to Alto. She peered inside, finding a roll of twine and small jars. What are these for? Gathering... Oh, that's him saying it. Sorry, I thought it was, the narrative, the prose part. Gathering materials for the road ahead. Unless you would like to rest instead? No. I'll help. You'll have to let me know what we'll need. He tilted his head in acknowledgement and turned off the lantern. For a moment, she felt silly holding her crafted weapon and placed it down. But when she reached the entrance of the flap that Kisha held for her, she looked back, hesitating. Going back, she picked it up and returned to the front where Kisha stood. Just in case. Without a word, he continued, and Alto followed right behind. Just like the stream, the fields where Kisha led her to were nearby. Trees were sparse, but plenty of colorful vegetation and fruits thrived here. As promised, Kisha slowly pointed to the correct berries to pick, the right shrub to strip leaves and sterns from, and the various reddish piles of soil to collect. He watched until she could correctly gather the materials, and she didn't mistake the poisonous bulbs with the nearly identical ugly seeds, leaving her to her own foraging. Fortunately, most of the ingredients Kisha needed were within the same vicinity, and Alto didn't stray far from the man. While their pickings were strict and specific, Alto found the action of searching and gathering in nature to be fun. Huh? What was that? I could have sworn I heard something. Finishing up by tying the mint together and putting it in her satchel, she stood up. Alto hoped to see Kisha, but all in her view was the fields and the forest that stretched out in front of her. Kisha? She took tentative steps to where she last saw him, repeating her call. Kisha! Where are you? Wait a second. Hold on a second. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure that this background right here is from another game. Is it Birushana or is it Nightshade? It's from one of those 2 games. Either way, it's beautiful. I'm just saying I recognize it. There was still no response, but the rustling seemed louder as she continued to wander towards the forest. Positioning her makeshift weapon so the pointed end stuck out in front of her, her senses gradually spiked. Taking each step with caution, she listened to the sounds, attempting to find the source. Kisha! Whatever was making the noise was now in front of her, but the tall grass hindered her view of what it was. Maneuvering the weapon so it could be held comfortably with one hand, she moved to the tall grass to the side with her arm. While she finally found Kisha, who was past the tall grass in one of the clearings of the forest, what stood between them immediately jumped her heart. Kisha! The man turned around from his position but almost fell over. A male Bitar boar stood between Alto and Kisha. It was a big beast, standing up to Alto's waist. Her waist? How big is that boar? What? That's humongous! Like all Vitar boars. I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's okay. It had 4 tusks protruding from its lower jaw, the 2 in the back much longer than the 2 in the front. And like all Vitar boars, the full-grown males were extremely territorial. And why is he there then? How did he end up in this situation? Alto watched as it stomped its hooves into the ground, throwing its head berserk. It's gonna charge. Kisha! Use your magic! But the man froze. The beast seemed focused on Kisha, huffing as it pawed the ground. Why isn't he doing anything? Kisha! The second calling shook him out of his stupor, and he quickly grabbed at whatever was closest on the ground. I wonder if he was frozen in fear. Maybe he's just, we need to protect him, not the other way around. I mean, Alto was a knight, right? Maybe she's gonna be his knight in shining armor. I'm down for that. Small stones flew at the creature, and sprays of dirt littered the air in between the two, but the boar stayed, now angrier. Yeah, why would you throw... listen, I don't know anything about wild boars. I don't know anything about fending them off. I've never encountered a dangerous wild animal in my life. But I don't think you make it go away by throwing things at it. That would just make it angrier, right? I mean, what's he doing? The boar started to run. It turned, rushing back into the tall grass. Alto could hear it change directions back to the 2 of them. Alto went into a defensive position, holding out her weapon straight in front of her. Though tension bound her stiff and she didn't understand why Kisha wasn't using magic, she had to protect him. I don't think he has magic. If he's not using it, he doesn't have it. And listen, he's the damsel in distress, and we are the savior. He had saved her from execution. Gave her a knife, his knife, without hesitation. She would return the favor. The boar burst through the tall grass, but Alto made sure she was ready. It came at an angle, and her former knight training kicked in. She stood her ground, pivoting on her back foot at the last moment so she faced the beast head on. And again, it spun to dodge the weapon point, veering back into the grasses. Okay, that's a very smart animal. I don't know. Listen, I don't know much about boars. Are they really smart? I should know about boars. My Chinese zodiac sign is the boar. Fun fact. At the next pass, I'll mark it. The pounding of his hooves seemed desperate, wanting to hit its mark, but unsuccessful. Come out! As if on cue, it appeared out of the grass. Once more, Alto was ready. This time, when she pivoted to meet the boar, she took another step, thrusting the weapon out. The boar squealed, bucking back in an attempt to avoid the weapon. But Alto pushed, digging the weapon deeper into its flesh. It thrashed under the pain, a trickle of blood pouring out from the wound. Not wanting to kill the beast, Alto pulled the weapon out but kept it steady in front of her. Finally, the boar left. The sound of its hooves faded until Alto could hear. Till all Alto could hear was her deep breathing. Lowering her weapon, she turned around. Kisha stood wide-eyed, a hand over his heart, and the other a fistful of more rocks. Listen, he's just a big scaredy cat, and you know what? That's okay. Because he's just a baby, and we will protect him. His veil has fallen to the ground, now covered in dirt. Are you okay? He opened his mouth to say something, but opted to nod his head instead. They stared at each other, though thoughts swirled in Alto's mind. Can you use magic? That's a big fat no. Listen, it's okay. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Love yourself. Trust yourself. Does anyone remember that vine? That was hilarious. I'm sorry. No. Oh. That explained his behavior and inaction before, but the simple confirmation still surprised her. Yet, with this one word, she felt a little less lonely in Gaia. Oh, this is nice. Where are they now? Hello? What is this a dude? I think it's a dude. Should I give... Yes. Come in. Okay. Okay, another handsome guy. Let me look at him. So, he's got the long hair, which I like. And then... he looks like he has a... Is it a burn mark on his body? Zuko? I'm sorry. And he has this crystal embedded in his chest for some reason. It's the same as this, but this one's on the one on the other guy's on his clothes, and the one on, you know, the guy with the face, who I'm guessing is another route that we can do, it's in his skin. I think he can use magic. Piero, how many lives did the explosion take? There were 37 of us who did not make it, my lord. More than 50 of us are heavily injured. The healer, what is she doing? She's working hard to treat all of them, my lord. But there's only so much one person can do. Damn it. Damn that accursed Zithania kingdom. Sending us an explosive without any warning. Sir, this is just a suggestion, but why can't we just go on the offensive? With your magic and the Chrismalia, we could... Is the Chrismalia the crystal in his chest? That is out of the question. The Chrismalia is not ready yet. We would need to harvest the power of the blood moon. But we don't know when the next blood moon will come. I can wait. Even if it takes 1,000 years, I will see this project to the very end. Okay, are you immortal? Because, no offense, my guy, but, you're not looking on the super young side over there, so you think you can live 1,000 more years? Let alone 50? The hooded man placed his hand on Piero's shoulder. But now that Subject 13 has escaped, I will need to rely on you, Piero. Subject 13? Only you can properly wield the final product. You're the only worthy weapon I have left. Yes, my lord. Oh, is he evil? Is he the evil, morally gray love interest? Because I'm down with that too. Only in fiction. Putting that out there. Love it in fiction. Chapter 2, Field of Flowers. I don't really know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's going on still, but Alto and Kisha are gonna have their little adventures. Alto stretched, rotating her shoulders in an attempt to ease the soreness. Man, my muscles ache from all the action yesterday. I must be getting out of shape. Yeah, I mean, probably. How long were you in the dungeon for, my girl? Just then, Kisha emerged from his tent. So he slept in the tent and she slept on the grass outside? I was kind of hoping for, oh, there's only one bed. Oh no, looks like we have to share the bed. I love tropes, okay? Good morning, Alto. I hope you slept well. Morning, Kisha. Sure did. Slept like a log. Noticing that Alto was busy massaging her shoulders, Kisha returned to his tent and emerged with a cylindrical container. Here, use this. It's a salve to soothe muscle pain. Maybe he just wants to be a doctor or a healer. Wait. Am I putting two and two together? Wait. Is he the healer who disappeared? Is he the one who set up the explosion and killed all those people? Is he? Oh my god. I'm figuring it out. Oh my goodness. I think he's the one. He was the healer. And he set up the explosion that killed all those people. Maybe because he doesn't agree with what they're doing? Because it doesn't look like they're doing some legal things. It looks like they're pretty shady over there in that area. With Mr. Longhair and Mr. Hoodie Man. I don't remember. Pierto? Is that his name? I can't remember already. I'm sorry. Alto took the salve, applying it to the areas where it ached. A cooling sensation immediately spread through her muscles, masking the pain she had felt earlier. Starting at the pale-skinned alchemist once more, Alto recalled the shocking revelation that she learned the previous day, namely that Kisha was not a magic user at all. No, I think he's just a doctor. Not all magic users... what? Not all alchemists are magic users, I suppose. But still, it's quite a shock that Kisha was unable to use magic. To think that he rescued me from all those nights without having magic. I wonder how he pulled it off. But the fact that he's knowledgeable about so many things is amazing in itself. I guess it shows that you don't need fancy magic to accomplish things in life. Bro, look how she's looking at him. Look at her when they do that thing with the eyes and they're just like the lovey-dovey look. Love it. I want to see him do it next. Thanks, Kisha. Why are you thanking me? I should be the one thanking and apologizing to you. You were just in the process of recovering, but I've exposed you to mortal danger again. Again? Furthermore, I was so helpless. I couldn't even protect myself and had to rely on you. He breathed a long sigh, looking down at his hands in disappointment. If only I wasn't in this body. Kisha, I wonder if he has a physical condition or certain illness. I'd like to ask him about it, but I don't want to come across as rude. Should I ask him about it? Am I going to get to choose? Ooh, I can choose. This is where it gets interesting. I want to ask. Listen, I'm always so scared of this. Even when I play otome games, I'm always like, oh, I'm scared. I'm going to pick the wrong one. I'm going to get a bad ending. Oh, I'm so scared. But I'm going to, you know what? Living life on the edge. Let's do it. Ask him about his condition. Kisha, by any chance, do you have a medical condition? Imagine someone you just met like a day ago is just like, oh, by any chance, do you have a medical condition? And you just be like, huh? Why are you asking me this? Looking at his body, he's very thin and pale. It's not an understatement to say that he might be malnourished. Girl. Alto, girl. She's coming for him. Kisha looked taken aback by the question. No. Nothing of the sort. I just think that I should work out more. It's embarrassing to be unable to protect myself. I don't think that has anything to do with your physical strength. I just think he's a little bit of a scaredy cat, and that's okay. As a traveling alchemist, I should have learned some self-defense. Well, with regards to working out, I can totally help you with that. Alto flexed her muscles, evidently taking pride in her years of knighthood training. I'll get you in shape in no time at all. The girl struck a pose, but as if on cue, her stomach began to rumble loudly. It always does. Way to go, stomach. Who told you it was the right time for you to growl like that? Kisha let out a soft laugh. Oh, he's laughing. He's so cute. I suppose training could wait until later. Come, I'll cook you up some breakfast. What's he gonna make? And after breakfast, I'd like to give you a little present. Okay. Okay. A little present as in you? I'm just kidding. A present? You really don't have to. I insist. It's the least I can do to thank you for saving my life. A present, huh? I wonder what it could be. Look at her. Look at her face. She's so excited about getting a present from him. Is he gonna make her a flower crown? If he does that, I'm gonna die. Alto was surprised with the meal Kisha had made. With how little he carried around, he seemed to have a knack at surviving. He had fried some eggs and prepared some broth, adding some special spices to concoct a vegetable soup with the herbs and greens he also collected. Although it was a simple meal, Kisha had somehow magically made it better than any food Alto had ever tasted before. Oh, I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because he made it and you're starting to be like, my savior, I love you. Or perhaps it was just because she hadn't eaten anything proper for days. Probably the latter, let's be honest. About the present. Here you go. Kisha handed Alto a rectangular object covered in white cloth. Alto gave it a jiggle, now certain that there was more than one object inside. Go on, open it. Alto carefully unfolded the cloth, and her eyes widened in delightful surprise the moment she saw its contents. This is... How did you... Inside the cloth was a blank canvas supported by wooden beams. Stop. Wait, stop. She said she loves to paint and he got her things to paint with. My heart. I love when they support hobbies. It's my favorite. And they listen to what they say and they get things that they like. Oh, my heart can't take it. Though the woodwork was not by any means professional, they held the canvas in place firmly. Did he make it? Did he make the whole... Did he make the easel? Because if he made the easel, I'm gonna lose it. I keep saying that. Besides the canvas, there was an array of colored pigments decorating the sides of a wooden palette, accompanied by a delicate brush. How big is this box? I assume when I imagined it in my head, what he handed her, it was like a tiny little rectangle like you would get a necklace or a bracelet in. But apparently it must be big. Red, green, yellow sienna? They're all here. You even have blue pigment. It's crazy difficult to make. The girl whipped her head to Kisha. When did you have the time to make all these? Alto stopped mid-sentence. She recalled how they had been collecting different herbs, flowers, and berries the other day. Kisha did not tell her what they were for, and Alto did not question the alchemist's intentions, but... Stop. They were gathering things so he can make her a color palette so she can paint? We love it. We love the supportive boyfriends in this house. To think that Kisha had always had her interests in mind and even went through danger for the sake of making the pigments. Alto felt her heart clench and her eyes water, sentimentality almost getting the better of her. Is it not to your liking? I recalled you enjoyed painting, so I thought that you'd feel better if you do something you love. Alto wiped the tears brimming her eyes. No, no, no! This is... She stifled a sob and tried to compose herself, but to no avail. I'm sorry. I'm just so happy. Can't put it into words. Kisha gently placed his hand on Alto's head. Stop, he's doing the pat on the head. Oh my god, it's so cute. There is no need to say anything. I'm just happy that you like it. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of things to paint here. Feel free to explore the area, but don't stray off too far. I don't want you encountering another wild beast. Draw him. Girl, you gotta draw him. Who? Screw the flowers. Draw him. Of course. I'll join you after I'm done with one last experiment. Okay. Why is this a little bit more melodramatic kind of music? It's not happy anymore. Alto stared at the blank canvas in front of her. It had been a while since she had done any craft work. After all, her days were filled with training and preparation for her knighthood, instead of focusing on her crafts. There was once a time when she thought of becoming a craftswoman for the rest of her life. Crafting, painting, and woodworking were all her passions. But ever since Ellis went missing, Alto, along with Sol, had made a vow to find her no matter what. Alto stopped her crafts then and did everything she could to find her friend. That was when she decided to join the Knights' ranks. Being part of the scouting division gave her the rights to issue her own searches. But now here she was, in a field of flowers, holding a brush with a canvas in front of her. What's wrong? Is the paint not to your liking? I don't know much about art, but I tried to make pigments out of various dried flowers and minerals. Although I'm uncertain about its quality with regard to painting, I can assure you that it's safe to use. Alto snapped out of her trance and shook her head. No, that's not what I mean, thank you so much. I just didn't expect you to go this far, you know? You saved my life, and now you made these pigments especially for me. I can't thank you enough. Kisha threw her a dubious glance. It's just that it's been a while since I last painted. I fear I'll put your paint to waste. Don't worry about it. The process is quite simple, and I can always make more. Kisha stood up from the grass patch and made his way to the flower meadow. Perhaps... sorry, that's him. Perhaps staring at you while you paint will only make you nervous. I'll conduct some research on the flowers blooming around here instead. He started bending down, examining the flowers, muttering to himself while making mental notes. Alto sighed. Paint him, girl, paint him. Give me the option. It's not that I'm worried about not being able to paint, to be honest. I just feel like I'm not supposed to be painting now. Like, Alice is still out there, missing, and here I am, painting without a care in the world. Alto shook her head. No, I can't keep having these thoughts. Kisha is right. I shouldn't be worrying too much. Alice is a healer, and knowing of her invaluableness, no one would ever harm her. Or is Ellis the healer that ran away from those people? I still think it's Kisha, but I could be wrong. She must be alive. Somewhere. Alto finally decided to pick up the brush and mix her first colors. These pigments mix quite well in water. Kisha can make a living by selling these as high-quality art dyes. Now, what to draw? Can I pick? Please let me pick. Alto looked up from the blank canvas and gazed at the field of flowers that stretched endlessly in front of her. Like, yeah, you can paint a field of flowers, or you can paint the cute anime boy right there. Is it really a competition? Can I choose? And there, in the middle of all the colorful meadow, was the pale-skinned alchemist, preoccupied in his train of thoughts. Girl, she's gonna do it anyway. I don't even have to tell her to do it. She's gonna do it. She's gonna draw him. His sparkling gold-hued hair was blowing in the wind at the same pace as the flowing flowers, his translucent shawl rippling in it, too, like water. At that moment, all of Alto's worries suddenly disappeared, and her brush started painting by itself, as if taken over by the goddess of inspiration. She's drawing him anyway. I love it. I love cute, fluffy, romantic things. I love it. If only time stood still like this forever. I would love to stay here, just like this, in this field of flowers, just a bit longer. This is the calm before the storm, my girl. You're not gonna be able to stay there forever. The lone alchemist stood on the open field with a leather book in his hand and ran his free hand across the dancing blades of grass. He had opened his veil, letting the wind caress his sun-reflected hair, and gazed at the rolling blue sky, snow-white clouds, and the multicolored flowers. His magenta eyes glistened, beaming, as if he had never seen such a sight before. So this is what it's like to be free. No, sweet baby doesn't know what it's like to be free. Yeah, I'm convinced he was the healer that escaped and tried to kill all of them. Because he was probably enslaved by them, forced to do it. Kisha took in the fresh air. All the morning dews, the earthly soil, the wind's fragrance. What's that? These are called zinnias? Wait, who just said that? I'm so confused. Did she say that? Sorry. You're right. They don't have a fragrance, but they're beautiful all the same. Endurance in times of hardships. Well, I happen to know someone who's the living embodiment of that message. He chuckled softly, thinking about the girl who he had rescued, and who in turn rescued him right after. Finally, taking his eyes off of the flowers, his eyes instinctively wandered to the distant glacial mountains, the Belhim mountain range. It was the largest mountain range in the whole of Gaia, serving as a natural barrier for the kingdom of Leicester at the far west, where dangerous snowstorms occurred on a regular basis. And to the north of the mountain range lay the abandoned Chalia. Kisha shook his head, trying not to recall the tragedy that befell the poor tribe. He instinctively touched the leather book he always kept under his cloak. What cloak? You're not wearing a cloak. You're wearing a shawl. No, he's wearing like a scarf. He's not wearing a cloak? What cloak? Maybe it's tied around his waist, then that would make sense. Don't worry. We'll make it in time. Make it in time for what? What's happening? I know I shouldn't be affiliating myself with her any longer. She's whoever I want it to be. I want her freedom. But I can't lose sight of my goal. Who's he talking to? Himself? Yes. Theo, soon. All of this will have to end soon. Who is he talking to? Who is Lithiel? Lithiel? Who's he talking to? Is he talking to somebody inside of his own head? Alto placed her brush down and stretched, feeling quite stiff from sitting too long. Looking at the field, she noticed that Kisha was still examining the plants. I know the flowers are pretty and all, but he seems a bit too intrigued with the flowers. Let's sneak up on him and give him a scare. Girl, that's not gonna end well. He is a scaredy cat. He's gonna cry. Oh, but first, Alto gathered a few flowers and twigs, twisting them around each other, letting her deft fingers handle the rest. Is she making a flower crown? Is she gonna put it on his head? Am I gonna get a CG? Kisha! The alchemist turned around, only to feel something ticklish land on his head. He lifted the item up and realized it was a wreath made out of flowers. She did make him a flower crown and she put it on his head. I want to see a CG. Where's the CG? Let me see it. What is this? It's a flower crown. A flower crown? Listen, this guy was so sheltered, I don't think he knows what anything is. As the name suggests, it's a crown made out of flowers. I would have made you a crown of silver or gold if I had the materials with me, but I think flowers suit you better. Kisha examined the flower crown carefully. It was meticulously made, and it was clear that only a skilled craftsman with deft fingers could pull off such neatness. He put on the crown and smiled. Stop. This is so cute. Thank you. Alto had rarely seen the alchemist smile so genuinely, and honestly, it was blinding. Of course it was, because look at his face. Regardless, she stared agape at the scenery before her for a while, and recomposed herself when Kisha caught her staring. Alto, do you know what these flowers are called? Alto could only manage a half-baked laugh. She was never the type to study such a girly subject. Leave it to Ellis to name every single flower in existence. I'm not well versed about flowers. Sorry. Kisha bent down and picked up one of the colorful flowers. This one was a bright pink. These are called zinnia flowers. Zinnia flowers. There is a myth that zinnias come from a distant land, a world much unlike ours, a world ungoverned by magic. Wow, there's such a world better than ours? Kisha shrugged. Who knows? It's just a myth. There it is. It's the little CG. It's so cute. There it is. There it is. Kisha leaned closer to Alto, slowly reaching out his hand to touch her hazel hair. He tucked her hair behind her ear and gently clipped the flower between them. Stop. Be still, my heart. Look at how cute. There it is, the CG I was asking for. It doesn't disappoint. Oh. You are just like the zinnias, Alto. Sometimes I feel like you're too far from my reach, too otherworldly. If I decide to let you go, I know I'll never see you again. But it's inevitable. He knew he should be pulling back now, especially after he decided he would not affiliate himself with her anymore. But the moment had gotten the better of him. Perhaps it was Zinnia's magic at work. Alto could only stare blankly at the alchemist as she tried to decipher his strange words. His hand was still in her hair, and he had an unusual expression on his face, an expression she had never seen him wear. Alto knew he was smiling, yet his smile contained traces of melancholy, as if looking at her had stirred some of his most painfully happy memories. Kisha? As if being snapped out of his trance, Kisha suddenly dropped his hand and turned away. Where's the blushy Sprite? Where is it? I'm leaning in trying to find the blushy. Listen, you need the blushy Sprites. They make the whole game. Alto did not say it, but she somehow enjoyed the feel of his warm fingers on her head and was disappointed his hands left so quickly. I love it. I love the dynamic. I love the, you're so free and I desperately want to be free. You're too far out of my reach. Meanwhile, she's just like, hee hee hee. Kisha, if there's something you need to let out, I'm always here to listen. I'm guessing they've been here together for a few days at this point. Sorry, I'm tired. Since he saved her from being executed. The alchemist was silent for a while, as if thinking really hard. In the end, he only replied with a smile. That flower, it suits you. This is so cute! It's making me feel all fuzzy. I love fluffy things. I love it. Give me all the fluff. And with that sentence, Kisha disappeared into the tent, while Alto stood frozen in the meadows, mouth agape. Did Kisha just say She touched the flower in her hair and felt her face getting warmer. Yes, Alto, he said you're pretty. Okay? No one has ever told me that flowers suit me before. Those are reserved for dainty and pretty girls, like Ellis. No, sweetie, you're pretty too. You may be a strong, powerful knight, but you are also pretty. You can be strong and pretty at the same time. Alto shook her head. Come now, Alto. Kisha was just being nice, and knowing him, he's probably just complimenting the flower. Plus, he doesn't seem like his usual self today. I wonder if what he was thinking when he picked this flower and when he said all those words to me. Alto picked the flower from her hair. Zinnia's. Oh. Love it. Love this so much. Something's gonna happen. It's nighttime. Oh yes, give me the fireflies. Dusk had fallen, the zinnia's colors fading along with the sun's rays. Yet the night was not completely dark, and the fire Kisha had set up crackled brightly, and fireflies hovered around the area, their warm glows decorating the fields like festive lights. After dinner, Alto continued working on her painting, eager to finish it before the day ended. She had felt guilty for not assisting Kisha with the dinner preparation earlier, but the alchemist reassured her that he was more than capable of gathering food by himself. Finally, it's done. You drew him, right? You drew him, right? She put down her brush and let out a squeal of joy, eagerly waiting for Kisha to finish his daily experiments. Right on cue, the said alchemist emerged from the tent, bringing a hot mug of herbal tea with him. Kisha, you're right on time. Oh, you're done already? That was quick. You call it an entire day quick? I had thought painters usually take a month or a year to finish an artwork. Maybe more like writers. Actually, you know how many years I take? Like 3. More than that sometimes, listen. Listen. Art isn't easy, okay? Kisha sat beside Alto, handing her the herbal tea. Did their legs touch? Did their arms brush? I love it. I love these games, okay? Kisha sat beside Alto, handing her the herbal tea. Yum. Thank you so much. Anyway, complex pieces do take longer time to make, but it does depend on the artist. In my case, I got my muse, so finishing it was quick. Yeah, he's your muse. Oh, my heart. Your muse? Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, I present my masterpiece to none other than Kisha the alchemist. Can I see it? Can I see what you drew? Is there going to be another beautiful CG that I can look at? Alto held out the canvas for Kisha to see, beaming as she did so. Yes, I could see it. Yes, yes. Look, she drew him. I love this so much. I love it. I love it so much. I could cry. It's so simple, but I love this. Kisha was not someone who often appreciated art, but he could nevertheless see the amount of effort and delicacy was put into this piece. The azure sky was made of bold strokes. The blades of grass truly looked as if dancing in the wind, and each flower was dabbed carefully, their colors complementing one another. Bro, that's not her muse. Her muse is the guy in the middle. Hello. But the focal point of this painting was undoubtedly the figure in the center. The lone man with the flaxen hair, gazing at the distant mountains in a trance. Is that me? Of course it's you. Who else could it be? Kisha had no idea that he looked like that from Alto's point of view. Somehow, Alto had captured him looking wistful in that painting. Oh, my heart is aching with the fluff. I love it. This is for you. The painting's for me? Alto rolled her eyes. Come on. It's so unlike you to repeat every single word I just said. That's because he's so overwhelmed with emotion, just like I am in this moment. I'm sorry, I'm just surprised. What was that? You look like someone who's never received a gift before. Maybe he hasn't received a gift. My heart, my soul. Okay. That's not completely wrong. What? No way. But you're so nice. How could anyone not... Thank you, Alto. I shall treasure this gift. There was another melancholic smile on his lips, and Alto closed her mouth, deciding it would be best to avoid pressing him any further on the matter. That reminds me, Kisha has never spoken about himself. What his life is like or where he's from, he's never spoken a word about it. But to be fair, I haven't talked about much about myself either. Or was he waiting for me to get comfortable enough to open up? Maybe that's why he went through all that trouble of making the pigments and canvas, all to make me feel at ease again. Well, regardless of his intentions, it worked, and I feel like I'm ready to face the truth. Kisha, do you mind if I ramble a bit? Of course not. I'm all ears. Alright then. Let me tell you about my two closest friends, Sol and Ellis. We grew up together and knew each other's parents, had silly fights and childish quarrels. You know, like how friends always do. Sol's family came from a renowned family of respected knights, and they wanted him to follow his ancestors' footsteps, but, well, Sol being Sol... Alto shook her head, memories of their rebellious streaks coming back to her. He couldn't accept that having his future controlled, kinda like me, honestly. And so we'd spend days running away from our duties together. Sounds like you had a rebellious streak too. I was the better one amongst the two of us, okay? Anyway, Ellis, on the other hand, she was always on the level-headed one, keeping us away from trouble and making sure we were out of harm's way. She's smart, polite, beautiful, and strong. And she can even use magic. I dare say she's the best healer in Gaia. She was undoubtedly our village's pride and joy, and everyone's role model, too. She sounds like a great person. Of course she is. But... Alto's grip on the mug tightened. One day, she disappeared, suddenly. We suspect someone had kidnapped her for her healing capabilities. Inborn healers are a rare breed, after all. It has been 3 years since I last saw her. Without Ellis, the glue in our relationship, everything just fell apart. Nothing was ever the same without her. Sol and I swore to find her no matter what it takes, but that was where we went our separate ways. I trained hard and joined the Sithanian Knights Scouting Division, hoping to attain a position high enough that I could collect as much information as possible about Ellis's whereabouts and warrant my own search party. I don't know what Sol is doing right now, but I know he's still searching for her. He wouldn't have broken our promise. So that's why you became a knight? All for her sake? Yes, everything was to find Ellis. But as for why the knights labeled me a criminal... She let out a heavy sigh as she recalled the dreaded memory. Do you know about the Chrismalia project? Kisha nodded hesitantly. Probably because I think he was part of it with those guys, the evil guys. Given how much of a hermit Kisha seems to be, I doubt he knows much about the project. He probably knows more than you think, girl. The Christmalia Project is an organization of scholars and mages from all over Gaia, whose research involves making magic accessible to everyone, even non-magic users. They truly have an honorable purpose, but unfortunately, many kingdoms are against their research, including Zithania. I suppose making magic accessible to everyone would only create chaos and destroy the hierarchical... I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this word. Hierarchical system. Tongue-tied. I am tongue-tied. I'm sorry. That Zithania was built upon. That's why they're so against the project. You say Zithania Kingdom is in opposition to the project, but you seem to be an avid supporter of them, Alto. I suppose there's no hiding anything from you. You're right. Being a non-magic user myself, I see the allure of the project's goal and wish to support them in any way I can, but that will never happen, given that I've just blown up half their headquarters into smithereens. Oh, wait, she's the one who did that? I thought he did that, it was her. Okay, you go do that, girl. But if you support them, why would you blow up their headquarters? I mean, I suppose they're a corrupt organization. It seems like it anyway. Maybe while she supports the idea has been perverted to the point that they're not going about it the way that she would go about doing the exact same thing. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense. What? How did that happen? Commander tasked me to deliver a parcel to the Christmalia Project's headquarters. That already sounds mighty suspicious. I was suspicious of it too at first, but he insisted that the parcel bore some good tidings, and I thought Zithania was finally taking a step to reconcile with the project. So you went, but let me guess, the parcel definitely did not bear those good tidings and contained explosives instead. Oh, okay, so she didn't blow it up on purpose. The Zithania people blew it up. Okay. It's that obvious, huh? There's no other explanation for half the headquarters' destruction, after all, unless you had destroyed it with brute force. Now that I think about it, that might just be possible with your extraordinary strength. Hey, I'm not some brawny gorilla. No, he's not calling you a brawny gorilla. He's complimenting you because you're strong and can protect him from the evils of this world. Okay, I'm getting too intense. I know. I was just joking. Look at his cute little smile. He's precious. He's precious. But to have survived an explosion of that magnitude, you must be lucky to have escaped unscathed. Alto scratched her head. Honestly, I have no memories of surviving the explosion. As soon as I came to, I found myself at quite a distance from the explosion site. But yeah, now that I think of it, how did I survive? Maybe the gods were watching you and decided to lend a hand. The gods, huh? Alto gazed at the moonless sky, where the sky realm, the gods' dwelling, supposedly resided. Perhaps the gods did help me. She turned to Kisha. Or maybe they didn't. You did. When they imprisoned and nearly executed me to keep my mouth shut about the entire matter, you, a complete stranger, rescued me from my death. For that, I can't thank you enough. So thank you, Kisha. I owe you my life. Alto's eyes welled in gratitude as she said that. Perhaps the gods did take notice to her and had sent someone to rescue her, a A soft-spoken alchemist who brewed the best herbal teas. Stop. I'm gonna get a cavity from all this cuteness over here. Is there anything I can help you with? Maybe I could be your assistant or your bodyguard or... Calm down. So, you've rescued me too, so you don't owe me anything. She just wants to spend more time with you, you dingus. Listen! She's not saying it because she thinks she owes you. She's saying it because she doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to be separated from you, okay? At least that's what I think. But I really want to help you. Besides, I have nowhere else to go. Well, if you insist, I do have something I might need your assistance with. Oh, what is it? I need to deliver something to the Oshira desert, see, but there's a possibility that I might encounter some wild beasts along the way. Yesterday, you saw just how incapable I am of defeating those monsters by myself. I may need a hand in keeping me safe. Yes. 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 Alright. I'll be your bodyguard then. I am an ex-knight after all. Alto pumped her fists in the air, excited at the prospect of a new journey with the alchemist. Thank you, Alto. But I need to be clear about one thing. Once you have accompanied me with the delivery, we will have to part ways. You are not to follow me afterwards. Is that clear? No. I'm sorry. That's not clear because I can't hear you. It's like that sign doesn't affect me because I can't read. Alto's jovial mood immediately dampened after hearing Kisha's stern words. Huh? But why? I cannot let you accompany me for personal reasons. Because he's running from the evil people? Or he's gonna go back and he's gonna kill them himself? Personal reasons? What sort? I cannot tell you. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I suppose everyone has secrets they wish to hide, and it's just normal. Pushing him for answers would only make him feel uncomfortable, so I best save my curiosity for a later date. But I have to admit, I feel a tad disappointed that he doesn't trust me enough after all I told him about myself. Does he still consider me a stranger? Alto tried to shake those thoughts away from her mind. No matter. My duty right now is to ensure Kisha is safe and sound. Perhaps I can figure out where I want to go and what I want to do along the way. Alright, so where's our first stop, Kisha? Our first stop would be Al-Saharan, Port City. I need to restock on supplies, and it's on the way to the delivery location in Hoshira Desert. Al-Saharan, Port City, huh? Got it. I'll make sure no harm befalls you. Thank you. I'll be counting on you then. Kisha stood up. It's getting late. Make sure you're well rested for our journey tomorrow. I'll conduct one last test before I go to bed. Alright. Good night, Kisha. Good night. Oh? Deep under the night's veil, when Alto was sound asleep outside, a flame continued to burn dimly, in the alchemist's tent. Kisha was still awake, but he had long abandoned the apparatus of his experiments and was now sitting in the shadows. His increasingly creased brows indicated that he had been pondering over something for quite a while. He mumbled an incoherent string of words, but they were too muffled for anyone to decipher. It looked as if he was talking to himself. Yeah, he does seem to talk to himself a lot. Why does he do that? A slithering sound, fleetingly mistaken as the wind's hiss, whizzed by his ears. Kisha sharpened his ears to sift someone's or something's voice from what the others would consider white noise. What were you thinking? Letting her accompany us like that? Ooh, this is interesting. I wasn't expecting this. Okay. Time is ticking. We don't have much time left to carry out our plan. Thought she'd be of help. Don't lie. She's gotten fond of you, and you of her. Kisha did not deny the statement. How much longer are you going to lie to that girl? Whatever are you saying? Omitting some facts is not the same as being dishonest. She'll find out the truth sooner or later, and find out that you have been deceiving her. Kisha, no! She doesn't have to know that. Once we've reached Hoshira Desert, it'll be the last time we'll meet each other. She'll forget me soon enough anyway. You will die alone then. The ghost of a sad smile formed on the alchemist's lips. It's all right. I'm prepared. Stop. If that's the sacrifice I need to make for this plan to work, then I am more than ready. Kisha waited for his reply to hiss again, but this time there was nothing. After a while, the wind seemed to sigh in resignation and snuffed out the sole candle in the tent, as if bidding the alchemist a quick good night. Chapter 3, Al-Shaharan City. Okay, so that seems like a good place to end this part. Beautiful art, by the way. But anyway, I am going to end this part here. I'm really enjoying the story a lot so far, and I do want to keep playing. I hope you continue to watch with me. I know this probably wouldn't, be as anticipated as, say, when I play the Fangans, but I'm enjoying the story, and that part at the end where he's got something going on in his head. He has something going on in there, and I need to find out what it is. I need to protect him. He's a cinnamon roll, too good for this world, too pure. Anyway, I'm gonna end this part here, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know what you think so far of this game in the comments. Be sure to go download it yourself and play it yourself if you find it interesting. I would recommend it. It's very good. I'm invested already. It's remember, completely free, so you don't have to pay anything for this. It's a free game. You can get it on Steam. So 10 out of 10 would recommend already. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next part. Bye bye.